I remember the first missing package like it was a bad first date. You can't unremember. I ordered a limited edition sneaker drop for my buddy's birthday, and when the tracking said delivered, I did what everyone does. I asked my wife to grab it from the porch and bring it inside. She laughed. She leaned over the railing, and the box was gone like a magician's trick. At first, I blamed the postal carrier. Then optimism whispered, maybe a neighbor grabbed it for safekeeping. But optimism is expensive, and my patience wears expensive shoes cut to a montage of boxes disappearing. Amazon Prime boxes, delicate electronics, a weird scented candle I didn't even want, each one vanishing within hours of delivery. Every time the HOA notice board would fill with passive-aggressive reminders about porch safety and community etiquette, and I developed a personal vendetta against whoever thought our porch was a free-for-all enter Karen. You know the type, depending on the HOA map. She owns at least 3 reserved spots in the moral high ground section. She's the woman who complains about basketballs on the lawn but parks her ego across 2 spots. I first noticed her because she liked to stare at packages like they were art. Installations she could critique and take home. Not borrow, take, so I did what any reasonable homeowner in a slightly dramatic suburban thriller would do. I watched, I learned her schedule. And yes, I know that sounds like the opening line of a true crime podcast, but this is different. This is glitter and justice. I'd set timers, check doorbell cam footage, and every time the camera caught her silhouette, that smug little nod of entitlement would freeze the frame and our community rules would blink in shame. One Tuesday, a package vanished again. This one had sentimental value. A small wooden music box my wife's grandma had promised would go to her someday. I watched the footage. There she was. Karen, hair in a perfectly tidy bun, sunglasses like armor, gliding to the porch like a queen collecting tributes. She bent, reached, and like a bad magic trick, poof. Gone that night, the HOA sent another reminder email about package thefts in the neighborhood, and the subject line might as well have said, Dear Karen. Stop, my wife cried. I fumed. Our cat judged me for being dramatic. And I made a plan. It needed to be legal, ethical-ish, satisfying, and most importantly, non-violent. We live in 2025, not in a spy movie where we set booby traps that get us indicted. So I built a glitter bomb now. Hear me out before you judge. A glitter bomb is basically a glitzy prank device that sprays tiny, evil-looking glitter everywhere and makes a loud, humiliating noise, so the thief knows they just made a terrible life decision. There are safe builds online, and I modified one to be community-friendly. No harmful chemicals, no projectiles, no supervising animals harmed, just maximum embarrassment and cleanup complexity. Step 1, procurement. I bought a small speaker, a shockproof container, a bag of very clingy glitter, and a tiny motorized puff device that would airburst the glitter like a confetti cannon. I added a recorded message, something between smug and school announcer level chastising, and rigged it with a motion sensor linked to the speaker. Important safety note. Everything was non-destructive and non-illegal in my state. I did not and would not use anything that could hurt someone or their property. Step 2. Psychology. You want them to be embarrassed, not enraged. The recorded message had a touch of sarcasm, a line about, thanks for taking what isn't yours, and a recorded chuckle. Funny. Humiliating. Clearly targeted. Step 3. Camouflage. I wrapped the box in innocent packing paper, added tape, and labeled it with the kind of tracking slip that screams value. Do not bend on fragile. Then I waited with the patience of a chess player. Except my chess pieces were Amazon boxes and the queen was named Karen. Delivery day dawned. I set the device with a timer so it would arm after the delivery. Window closed and left the house acting completely normal because normal is the best. Disguise the doorbell camera recorded everything. It'd be black. And white surveillance cinema, but with better lighting. When I checked the footage later, my heart did a weird little flip at the moment of truth. There she was, Karen. Posture perfect, sunglasses on, confidence like a wallpaper pattern repeated for years. She approached. scanned like a pro scavenger, bent for the box, and the motion sensor triggered. The sound was the first assault. A loud, theatrical voice boomed, "Congratulations, you took a package you shouldn't have," followed by a burst of glitter the size of a tiny disco planet. Glitter exploded everywhere, across her blouse, in her hair, in the crook of her elbow, and the crowning humiliation. The speaker started playing a triumphant yet mocking jingle I'd recorded, "Take what isn't yours. Shine like glitter. Face the internet forever." She froze like those nature documentaries where predators hesitate before making a fatal choice. Neighbors came out in bathrobes and surprise party confusion, flashlights cutting slices through the glitter haze. Karen stood there, glitter falling from her arms like she was the centerpiece of a very tragic craft fair. What followed was immediate and delicious. She tried to act like nothing happened, then like it was a misunderstanding, then like the entire neighborhood was hallucinating glitter shots of her shaking her blouse, only made glitter rain harder. And the footage, oh, the footage, was cinematic. Uploaded the clip to the HOA private group because justice is best served with community captions and 2x speed playback. The thread ignited like dry tinder, shocked emojis, the old lady from 12B who saw everything, and the mail carrier who finally spoke up about suspicious porch visits. But this isn't a revenge fantasy with a tidy ending. Karen was furious, and she marched to the HOA board claiming defamation, harassment, and that I'd orchestrated a public shaming. The HOA rules required mediation for neighbor disputes, so there we were. Me, my wife Karen with glitter flaking off her sleeves, and the board wearing expressions that said, "We signed up for lawn debates, not glitter politics." At mediation, I stayed factual and calm and played the footage. Video doesn't lie, even when the neighbor tries to edit reality with a sob story. The board issued a warning, offered community restitution resources, and politely suggested Karen refrain from unapproved package retrieval. Karen responded with legal-sounding words she likely found in a bookshelf of passive action verbs and stormed off, glitter trailing behind, her like the confetti of an overcooked parade too. Things happened after that first. Package theft stopped. Maybe it was fear. Maybe it was that everyone knew Karen now owned the neighborhood's least desirable sparkle trend, but deliveries were respected. Second, the HOA adopted a porch safety and respect policy that included recommended camera placements and a communal package locker idea. Because when one person goes viral, the HOA tends to act, there are moral complications. I know I rigged a device that intentionally embarrassed someone, and that sits in a moral gray zone between clever and cruel. Before you cheer, ask, could I have handled it differently? Absolutely, I could have reported earlier. I could have worked with the HOA faster. I could have installed a lockbox from the beginning. But there's also a strong emotional truth. When something that belongs to you disappears again and again, and the responsible parties behave like entitlement is a currency, people snap. The glitter episode changed more than Karen's outfits. Neighbors who had been on the margins of contact started talking, sharing footage and organizing safe delivery times. People started leaving nicer notes for the mail carrier. The old kids with bikes stopped treating our neighborhood like a package buffet. Mostly, we felt seen. And sometimes being seen is the most practical kind of safety. A week later, Karen knocked on my door. A little because of guilt and a lot because she needed to return something. A handbag she claimed was left behind in her car. She handed it over, with an awkward half-smile and a smear of glitter still on the strap like a souvenir of her ego's misadventure we didn't become. Friends, this isn't a rom-com, but she mouthed, "I'm sorry," and I nodded because apology is a small currency. 2, I also offered to help clean the glitter off her sleeve. Because I'm not a monster and the HOA mediation had taught me people respond better to humanity than to spectacle. So what did I learn from rigging a glitter bomb and becoming a cautionary tale on the HOA group chat? 1. Petty can be productive when it starts a conversation about safety. 2. Community safety often begins with awkward conversations and ends with practical solutions like lockers or cameras or neighbors who actually look out for each other. 3. Glitter is impossible to completely remove, and that's metaphorically fitting. You're thinking of trying a prank like this at home. Please pause and think legal and safety first. Consider non-confrontational options. Document everything and engage the HOA early. If you want catharsis, start a neighborhood watch or a locked package bin. Glitter is fun, but it's also forever. In the end, the packages that mattered, the music box, the sentimental things, found their way home because we wouldn't let small thefts become normal. Karen learned her lesson the hard, sparkly way, and we learned that a community that laughs together can also protect each other better. And the music box? It plays a little tune now every evening on our mantle, and when the melody floats across the yard, I think about how small acts can burst into something bigger. Not always pretty, often inconvenient, occasionally sparkly, but effective fade out with the camera panning over a porch.